Sheriff, I have a question that hasn't been addressed yet. When there's a crime in the county, let's say somebody steals a tractor or some device, piece of equipment from a farmer, do you have a detective that can spend time following up the leads on these things, or looking for leads, or is there only police presence in the county, uniformed patrol deputies?
Well, yes, we do have a detective. At one point in time, we had 3 detectives, and the detectives worked serious felony crimes against persons, and then they also worked property crimes. Today, I'm in a situation to where it's just a uniformed officer on patrol that follows up on a tractor theft or, motor vehicle thefts. Farm equipment, a lot of that stuff is all handled by a patrol deputy who currently, right now, at the time, is only working 10 hours a day. Back in the day when we had more people, sometimes officers would pass this stuff off from one shift to the next and they could keep working on it, but right now they don't have that ability. So I'm down to 1 detective, and then I have a detective sergeant that's kind of helping to fill in at times with our detectives. But this is, our detectives, and the one that I have, but when we had 3 detectives, they were really busy all the time working persons crimes and some of the more horrific crimes such as child sex abuse crimes. And these types of person crimes take a lot of time to investigate. And so the detectives have to be available just to handle those types of investigations, oftentimes have to travel out of the county to coordinate things with other counties, because a lot of these folks don't just commit crimes in one county, because they don't typically know geographical boundaries, they just commit the crime. So we're hurting right now as far as being able to do our persons crimes and sex abuse and child abuse crimes. And that's very troubling to me, but we're doing the best that we can. Patrol is helping out where they can, but again, with a limited amount of time that they have to do investigations, plus take on all the other calls that they have. Well, as soon as they come to work at noon, they're trying to pick up on all the calls that came in from 10 o'clock the night before. And so it doesn't give them a lot of time to do follow-ups and do complete, thorough investigations. So what we've tried to do is just narrow down some of the things that we do, and I've just said we can't do everything anymore, but what we do, we want to do very good at, and even that's become difficult just because the officers are getting frustrated and they're getting tired.
It's a really good segue too for me to add in. As a South County rural resident, my concerns over not just the detective part, although detectives play a role in our point team, so our interagency narcotics team, and I don't want the sheriff to touch on this, but I can tell you as a rural resident who has watched over decades an evolution of meth labs and property crimes related to meth labs and marijuana grow sites, that it's very concerning to me that we are in a place now where one of the most essential teams for law enforcement is shut down, and we can't operate because can't operate the team because we don't have adequate staffing in the sheriff's office that manages that. And though we may not be hearing a lot about large volume narcotic crimes going on out in our rural areas, it still does exist. There's still things going on. We just don't have the team to address it. So I want to make sure that I entered that in there.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Commissioner. I can tell you that when the team got shut down in June of last year, we ended up through December showing a 74% reduction in drug investigations. That's a horrible number, because you think, well, gee, there's no drug problem then. You have a 74% reduction. That just means there's 74% of the crimes that we haven't been able to go investigate. Drugs are the leading cause of burglaries and thefts, because people have to steal from you in order to be able to support their habit. And the drug team focuses on the people that supply the drugs and try to choke off that supply so that people don't get subjected to drugs as easily as that they were able to, and hopefully drive down the burglaries and the thefts. Because oftentimes, you know, it's not just the drug dealers, but it's the other players that are involved in the investigations that the point team does that has a criminal connection to a lot of different things, and it's not always just drugs. Some of these folks get involved in quite a few other crimes that are associated to drugs. So it's, we had a shutdown period some time ago with the point team for a temporary basis, and when they came back into operation, it was amazing how easy it was for our undercover officers and the people that they worked with to go out and buy drugs off the street. What was really good is about 6 months after they'd been back out on the street, members of the drug team were telling us that we're not able to find people to buy drugs from on the street because the word's out, the point team's in operation again, so we can't be selling drugs over here. And it's not like it stopped, but that's a true fact is how the impact of this is. Once you take that enforcement away, drug sales and drug promotions just flourish.